everyone, how's it going, and welcome to my review of El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, a movie that is the conclusion to 5 seasons of Breaking Bad that has just premiered on Netflix. So this movie stars Aaron Paul reprising his character of Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad, and it's basically the conclusion of his story that we never got in the series. And in this movie, he's on the run from the law, he's like one of the most wanted men in America, and essentially he has to try and evade capture while he's in the process of finding out a way that he can start a new life and get a new identity, make a whole new name for himself, and yeah, basically erase his past. So let me say right off the bat, Breaking Bad is a show that I absolutely love. I would say it's probably my second most favorite TV show of all time, just under Firefly. That show was perfection in so many ways, from the writing, the performances, the cinematography. I love all the quirkiness of it, like an episode that gave us an update on what's happening through a mariachi music video. There were so many things that just made that show so unique and so enjoyable, and yeah, I absolutely loved it. But it was one of those things, at the conclusion of it, everyone had closure except for the character of Jesse Pinkman. And even though you could sort of conclude in your mind what maybe happened, like, I like things that are left to interpretation, but yeah, it was always one of those things that it would have been nice to know what happened, so now we finally know. So going into this movie, I didn't really have expectations because there's been a lot of secrecy surrounding this thing as to what the plot was, who was even in it. On IMDb just this afternoon, I had a look, there were 5 cast members listed on there. So while there were no expectations, I did have hopes though that this was going to be as good as the show, and on many levels it was. It wasn't quite perfect, but it's still really good. So in terms of things I liked about it, look, yeah, it's the cinematography in this thing is so freaking good. Everything that you loved about how Breaking Bad looked, this movie replicates it. That's one thing the show did so well, was just find inventive ways to make shots look different, and this movie carried that tradition so perfectly well. There were some scenes that made me literally say, wow. Yeah, I'm not going to go into any spoilers here. This review is going to be totally spoiler free. But yeah, suffice to say that there were some scenes that just looked amazing. The performances were every bit as good as you could expect from this movie, and yeah, I mean, Vince Gilligan, who wrote and directed this movie, who created the series, he did go on record as saying that there were going to be 10 characters from Breaking Bad who would appear in this movie, and there's been a lot of speculation as to who was going to be in it, and yeah, you know, it was one of those things, like, being that it's been several years now since Breaking Bad finished, like, a few characters did look like they were a few years older, even though a lot of it was told in flashback. But, you know, that's nothing you can really criticize the movie for, because, you know, what else are they going to do? I mean, at least they didn't replace them with CG versions of the characters or something stupid like that. So like I said, a lot of this movie is told in flashbacks, mostly towards the end of the series. You do find out a little bit more as to what happened with Jesse, with the breakdown of his character when he was in captivity. And that's one thing I will say, I really think you need to watch the show before you see the movie, because even though you do get a few little clues here and there as to what created his, you know, this version of his character, you really need to go on that journey in order to really appreciate this movie. And aside from that, yeah, some of the cameos from characters past, you're not going to know who they are, and it's not going to be as poignant to the viewer, I don't think, if you don't know who they are. Particularly the ending of the movie, which I absolutely loved. And again, I'm not going to say what happens, of course, but it was a really bittersweet ending, and yeah, it really tugged the heartstrings. So as much as I really love this movie, and yeah, it was a very satisfying conclusion to the story, there was, well, basically one thing, I guess, that just kind of brought it down a little bit for me. Now, I don't want to say that some of the scenes dragged, because the word dragged often has just such an air of negativity to it. Don't get me wrong, like, every scene in this film was enjoyable to watch, but yeah, I guess the pacing in some parts was a little bit slow. But that being said, you know, what was going on in the scene was still interesting, but yeah, there were maybe 2 or 3 moments throughout the film that I was kind of like, all right, come on, let's just get to the next scene. And if I'm being honest, there were a couple of scenes that were a little bit predictable. Like, you kind of knew what was about to happen, but they were only few and far between, and they weren't sort of major plot points or anything like that. So, yeah, that wasn't bad. But look, overall, it is great. If you're a Breaking Bad fan, you are gonna freaking love this movie. I really felt that they gave all the past characters enough screen time, being that it was Jesse's story. Like, you don't want to see Jesse and Walt back at it again or anything like that, because, you know, that's done. It's over with. So in terms of being Jesse's story, yeah, this movie nailed it. And the best part is, being on Netflix, we get to watch it over and over again without having to go out to the movie theater and give them lots of money and watch it again. Although, that being said, yeah, if it was playing at the movies, it's not the sort of movie I probably would go and see again, mainly, yeah, because of those pacing issues. But overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a very satisfying conclusion to one of the greatest TV shows of all time, and I'm going to give El Camino a 9 out of 10. Alrighty, so thank you very much for taking the time to watch my review of El Camino, and for those of you who are wondering if Walter White actually makes an appearance in this film, I'm not going to tell you. And for all you Breaking Bad fans out there, yeah, let me know what you thought of this movie, and also what were some of your favorite moments in Breaking Bad. Like, oh god, I mean, I know there's so many to choose from, but I think we all kind of have our favorite moments or favorite characters, so yeah, let me know what some of yours are. So drop me some comments either here, Facebook, or Twitter. All the social media links are in the description below, because I like to talk about movies, and I would love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.